Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
AAA has released their annual holiday travel report, and this season has more travelers than ever. It's forecasting a record-breaking 107 million Americans will be on the road, in the air, and on trains trekking over 50 miles between December 23rd and January 1st. An increase of 4 million travelers from last year, despite the highest gas prices in 3 years. With the predicted 91% of holiday travel being done by car, AAA has some advice to help you avoid being one of the 900,000 drivers they expect to help this holiday season. Before hitting the road, test your car battery, check tire pressure, bring a spare key, and if it's been a while, have a mechanic do a checkup. Another helpful tip is to pack an emergency bag with items like jumper cables, a phone charger, flashlight, first aid kit, and drinking water. They also say the worst time to start the holiday drive is late afternoon on both Wednesday, December 20th and Thursday, December 21st. Hopefully this advice will make your trip a merry one.
Dustin Hoffman is the latest man in Hollywood to come under fire with repeated allegations of sexual misconduct, with 5 new women coming forward, 2 of which claim to have been underage. Variety reports that 3 women, Corey Thomas, Melissa Kester, and a victim who was asked to remain anonymous, claim the 2-time Academy Award winner acted inappropriately with them. Thomas says she was 17 years old at the time. She alleges Hoffman exposed himself to her in a hotel room while waiting for her mother to pick her up. The Hollywood Reporter published the stories of 2 women with allegations against Hoffman, one from a woman named Pauline, who claims she met Hoffman when she was 15 years old, and he exposed himself to her after the premiere of his film Alfredo, Alfredo. The Graduate star has previously been accused of sexual misconduct by 3 women, bringing the total number of allegations to at least 8. Hoffman's attorney, Mark A. Neubauer of Carlton Fields, Jordan Burt, denied the allegations and referred to them as defamatory falsehoods. Kristen, you have a story about the tragedy in Charlottesville.
I do, Richard. The man who plowed his car into a crowd during the Charlottesville rally this summer, killing Heather Heyer, has been charged with first-degree murder. James Alex Fields also faces 10 other charges for the dozens of people he injured. And SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral on Friday morning, sending cargo to the International Space Station. It's the first time a spacecraft made almost entirely of recycled technology has been sent on a mission. Now watch as this grandma is surprised with a new stove.
Grandma, Merry Christmas.
I think she likes it.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedlides. Nicole, I'm hearing that Apple has updated its maps.
That's right, Richard. Apple has added indoor maps of 30 major airports around the world to its Maps app. Users can now see accurate locations for gates, bathrooms, lounges, and can even use Siri to get directions. Pandora is taking on rival Spotify by offering free on-demand music as long as the person sits through 15-second video ads. The idea is to give non-paying listeners a taste of what they can find on the services that cost $9.99 a month. Does size matter when it comes to wine? It seems it does. Wine glasses today are 7 times larger than they used to be. The wine industry is worth $220 billion in the U.S., with the average bottle topping $10 for the very first time this year.
Nicole, tell me, what is driving this increase?
Wine consumption is being driven by millennials, who drink nearly half of all wine in the U.S. In 2015, women sipped 57% of wine in the country during that same time period. More Top 30 when we return.
One of the hallmarks of the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, was that kids could stay on their parents' health insurance plan until age 26. But recent repeal efforts have thrown the future of the law into jeopardy, and many millennials are wondering if they can afford insurance at all. As young people approach their 26th birthday, many get overwhelmed navigating plan options on healthcare.gov. Jargon like premiums, deductibles, and narrow networks are unclear and confusing. When Barack Obama was president, there were robust robust outreach efforts to link young people with in-person assistance to help them pick the right plan for their medical needs. But the Trump administration has slashed Affordable Care Act marketing funds by $90 million, and funding for in-person outreach groups was cut by 40%. The open enrollment period for 2018 plans was cut in half to only 6 weeks, November 1st through December 15th. It's still important for young people to get covered because you just never know when you may need that insurance. It's the most wonderful time of the year, but it's also the time of year when more than 200 house fires are caused in American homes because of Christmas trees, resulting in nearly $15 million in damage. According to the National Fire Protection Association, there are a few key things you can do to help prevent a fire this holiday season. First and foremost is keeping your tree watered if you opted for the real McCoy. A dry tree is just kindling, waiting to catch fire. Take a look at this shocking video the NFPA put out of a water tree versus a dry tree catching fire. Other tips include don't overcrowd your outlets, don't use faulty or cheap extension cords, avoid space heaters, keep candles and other heat sources away from the tree, turn off the lights when you go to bed, and finally, dispose of your tree after Christmas. The more time that passes, the bigger fire hazard your tree becomes.
Time now for Royal Watch with the Sun. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have announced their wedding date. The two will get married next year on May the 19th at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. They will spend their first Christmas as an engaged couple with Queen Elizabeth and the royal family at a royal estate in Norfolk in England. And Harry was with his brother earlier this week at the Star Wars premiere in London. Let's bring in the legendary Arthur Edwards, the Sun's royal photographer for 40 years. Arthur, they may be in the movie.
Harry and William went on the set at Pinewood, where they make the Star Wars movies, and they were asked to take part as stormtroopers. So they did a cameo role. And I think as they were turning up to watch the premiere, they were more concerned about whether they would see themselves in the film than Luke Skywalker. So, you know, it was for them, it was, did you see yourself, William? No, did you see yourself, Harry? And the argument is it on the cutting room floor or is it somewhere in the movie?
Arthur, a more somber story here. Members of the family attended a memorial for victims of Grenfell Tower, which killed 70 people in June.
There was a national memorial service at St Paul's Cathedral, to which Prince Charles, Camilla, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, William and Kate, and Prince Harry went to. After the service, they went and met different groups of relatives of people who lost family in the fire.
Arthur, that was such a heartbreaking story. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
This year's Olympic torch relay included a very unusual member. On day 41 of the relay leading up to the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea, the torch was passed by Hubo, a humanoid robot. At the Korean Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Hubo walked about 500 feet and drilled through a wooden wall to pass the torch to its creator, Professor Oh Jun-ho. Hubo is one of 85 robots that will work at the Winter Games. They'll also help with painting murals, information services for guests, cleaning, and security. The robot also gave a lift to UCLA robotics professor Dennis Hong. He told Korean media covering the event the ride was pretty bumpy. But that's okay. Once the Olympics begin, Hubo's main purpose will be rescue operations. Superstar George Clooney is as well known for his charity work as he is his film career. But one of the most outrageous donations Clooney ever made was $1 million to 14 lucky friends. All this is according to his longtime pal and business partner, Randy Gerber. According to headliners, Gerber says, "There's a group of guys that we called the boys. George had called me and the boys and said, hey, mark September 27, 2013 on your calendar. Everyone's going to come to my house for dinner." When the boys arrived, there were 14 suitcases on a table. Inside each was $1 million in cash. Gerber says Clooney told them, "I came to LA, I slept on your couch. I'm so fortunate in my life to have all of you, and I couldn't be where I am today without all of you."
States are preparing to sue the federal government over its repeal of net neutrality. New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman said that he will lead multiple states in suing the Federal Communications Commission. Attorneys General in Massachusetts, Illinois, Washington, and Oregon have also said that they will sue. Schneiderman slammed the agency for voting despite an investigation that found millions of fake comments criticizing net neutrality on the FCC website.
This is more than an attack on the future of our internet as we know it. It's a travesty for anyone who cares about the integrity of their voice in government. So we are going to fight back.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee says he will seek to pass net neutrality laws at the state level. Net neutrality rules passed under the Obama administration classified the internet as a public utility and made sure that internet providers or ISPs could not charge different prices for different sites. The FCC, led by Ajit Pai, voted to kill those rules. Consumer advocates say that creates the possibility that some websites and content will be blocked or slowed down unless companies and consumers pay more. The rules may be dead, but the lawsuits are just beginning. And the end of net neutrality basically means that the internet is much less free and much less open.
In today's hometown stories from Fox 5 DC, a third grader from Silver Spring, Maryland, won the National Ben's Beginners Contest from Uncle Ben's Rice. The contest challenged kids and their families to develop a rice-based recipe that they could cook together as a family. 7-year-old Savannah Markwood took the top prize with her pumpkin patch stuffed peppers. And she got more than just a great meal out of her efforts. She won $15,000 for her family and $30,000 for her school to renovate its cafeteria. In our second story from Fox 11 Los Angeles, early pioneers in rap music are cementing their place in history, literally by building the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Mark Hawkins, better known as DJ Clientele, explained why it's crucial to pay homage to rap's early trailblazers.
It's probably one of the single most important things in hip hop today that we can do. And the reason why is because, one, we want to protect, preserve, and celebrate the history of hip hop.
The museum is slated to open in the Bronx in 2022. In our final story from Fox 4 Dallas, members of Timber Creek High School's National Honor Society wrapped hundreds of Christmas gifts for less fortunate students at their school. Students were surprised to learn some of their peers could only afford the basic necessities for Christmas. So they started a fundraiser and raised $10,000 to bring Christmas cheer to their classmates. The presents will be privately presented to students and their families in the next few weeks.
A new study in the Journal of Business and Psychology reveals answering work emails after hours can affect your sense of well-being and lead to exhaustion. Researchers found that employees who did not create a clear division between work and free time were more worn out. This is because they didn't make time to do things they enjoy or that would help them relax and recover from the demands of their career. Lead study author Ariane Wepfer thinks companies should have policies in place to ensure employees have a life outside of work. She said, after all, impaired well-being goes hand in hand with reduced productivity and reduced creativity.
Some American hotels are giving its housekeepers panic buttons to protect them from guests. The step is intended to protect hotel room attendants from guests who make unwanted contact or sexual advances. A survey of a hospitality union in Chicago found that 58% of hotel workers and 77% of casino workers have been sexually harassed by a guest. One room attendant told Bloomberg she's opened the door to naked guests, been offered money for massages, and been grabbed from behind. Panic buttons can take the form of electronic devices like iPads with certain apps. They alert hotel security if an employee feels threatened by a guest. The devices are being used or will launch soon in New York City, Chicago, and Seattle. The city of Miami Beach is discussing the issue. The Equal Opportunity Employment Commission says the employer is responsible for having a harassment-free workplace, even if the harassment is coming from a customer or client. The trend comes at a time when more men are being held accountable for sexual harassment in the wake of the Me Too movement. The children of New Orleans are celebrating the opening of a brand new inclusive park thanks to New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. Walnut Street Playground is the first of its kind for the city of New Orleans. The inclusive park is specially designed to cater to children with mobility and sensory issues, meeting the needs of all children, including those with special challenges. And it's brought to the kids of New Orleans thanks to a partnership between Audubon Nature Institute and Drew Brees. Brees was on hand for the playground's debut and to play with the the children who've never experienced a park quite like this one. Parent Steve Going tweeted at Breeze about the park, saying, "Thank you, Drew. Children with disabilities are kids too. Many people look at them as lost causes, but my son has taught me so much without ever saying a word." Thanks to Drew, all the children of New Orleans have somewhere to play where their needs will be catered to.
While working with medical marijuana to develop treatments for common ailments in animals, the American Veterinary Medical Association hit a ton of roadblocks. Because marijuana is still classified as a Schedule I narcotic, which is why the AVMA is calling on the Drug Enforcement Association to help them by declassifying the drug. According to Civilized Life, the chairman of AVMA says their research with medical marijuana is important because people already give animals medical marijuana products, and without proper research and guidance, the dosage needed to appropriately treat animals will remain up in the air. The University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine began a study about the ways cannabis can help relieve pain in animals, but the federal government shut it down. New research says living near a fracking site can lead to health risks for infants. Pregnant women living within 2/3 of a mile of a hydraulic fracturing well were 25% more likely to give birth to babies with low birth weights. The study says those children will face a higher risk of poor health and lower achievement, including earnings that lasts a lifetime. Researchers at the University of Chicago, Princeton, and the University of California in Los Angeles looked at over 1 million birth records in Pennsylvania. They estimate about 29,000 babies are born every year to mothers that live close to fracking sites. In hydraulic fracturing, a mix of chemicals is pumped into wells drilled in the ground. The increase in natural gas production has lowered gas prices. It's also reduced America's dependence on foreign oil. But scientists say that those chemicals find their way into the air and into the water, risking the health of people in nearby communities. One of the authors said this study provides the strongest large-scale evidence of a link between the pollution that stems from hydraulic fracturing activities and our health. Other experts say more research is needed to fully understand the effects that fracking has on humans.
A study conducted by clinical and research dermatologist Dr. Zoe Delos says when compared to other methods of facial cleansing, Sonic skincare brushes did the best job removing makeup, which is why we've got today's top 30 deal, the Lotus by Dr. K Sonic Brush and Cleanser at a special 69% discount. The Sonic facial brush and 6-month supply of foaming cleanser purifies, exfoliates, and detoxifies skin, leaving your complexion bright and radiant. The Sonic brush has 120,000 incredibly silky, soft bristles that vibrates at 10,000 revolutions a minute, targeting the removal of makeup, mascara, and eyeshadow. The Sonic Brush and Cleanser gently exfoliates skin and deep cleanses pores, all in one step, improving skin's firmness, tone, and elasticity. And not only that, it's safe for all skin types. The Lotus by Dr. K Sonic Brush and Cleanser retails for as much as $127, but today you can buy it for just $39. That's about a 69% discount. And you can get this right now at top30deals.com while they last. Montreal is ending their ban on pit bulls. In 2016, legislation banned residents of Montreal from acquiring any pit bull-type dog. Dog owners who already had pit bulls were allowed to keep them, but strict rules forced them to be muzzled on a short leash in public, and a $150 permit fee was required. But that all changed when now elected Mayor Valerie Plante promised to overturn the rule during her campaign. She made good on her promise, and the ban will officially be lifted December 20th. More than 700 U.S. cities currently have breed-specific legislation regulating or banning pit bulls. And there are some countries like Germany and Finland that have banned pit bull ownership altogether.
A new futuristic all-electric semi-truck will soon hit the road, and no, this one is not made by Tesla. This is a look at the ET1 Semi, made by Thor Trucks. The design looks like it's right out of a Transformers movie, but company officials argue it has substance along with its style. They say the truck can pull 80,000 pounds, up to 300 miles, so it should be used for short hauls or day trips. But the big selling point is saving money. The company's website says it costs 60% less per mile in maintenance dollars and 70% less in fuel dollars. It is scheduled to come out in 2019 along with Tesla's electric truck, so we'll see which one ends up dominating the market. Kristen, what's coming up in the next show?
Richard, we're talking about the health questions Americans asked in 2017. Google has a list of the year's most searched health questions. We'll break it down for you. Plus, NASA has discovered a new solar system, and it looks a lot like ours. And how one 11-year-old boy is bringing some Christmas cheer to kids in hospitals. It's all coming up on the next Top 30.